If you work in Adobe Photoshop and the transparency grid is distracting, too dark, too light, or just not matching your workflow, this video is going to show you exactly how to change the transparency grid color in Photoshop in just a few simple steps. This is a really useful setting when you are designing logos, editing transparent assets, or working on graphics where you need better contrast and a cleaner view of your canvas. And if this tutorial helps, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more quick Photoshop tips and tutorials. Now let's jump right in. First, open Photoshop and go up to the top menu. If you're using Windows, click Edit, then choose Preferences, and then click Transparency and Gamut. If you're on a Mac, click Photoshop in the top menu, then go to Settings or Preferences and select Transparency and Gamut from there. This opens the Preferences window where you can control how the transparency checkerboard appears on your screen. Once the transparency and gamut window is open, look at the transparency settings section at the top of the dialog box. This is where you can customize the grid to match your needs. The first option is grid size, and this lets you change the size of the checkerboard pattern. You can set it to none if you want to hide the grid completely and just display white, or you can choose small, medium, or large depending on how visible you want it to be. If you prefer a cleaner workspace, a smaller grid can be less distracting. If you want the checkerboard to stand out more, a larger grid may be easier to see. Next, look at the grid colors option. This is where you can change the actual look of the transparency grid using built-in presets. You'll usually see options like light, medium, and dark, which change the checkerboard to different shades of gray. These are the most common choices and work well for general editing. But Photoshop also gives you custom preset colors like red, orange, green, blue, and purple. These can be very helpful if you want the transparency grid to stand out against a specific design or if the default gray blend is too hard to see. Now, if you want even more control, here's the pro way to do it. If you're working on a project with specific brand colors, a logo, or a layout with lots of similar tones, the standard grid might make it difficult to see your edges clearly. In that case, click directly on the first color square or swatch next to the grid colors drop-down. That opens the Adobe Color Picker window where you can choose any exact color you want. Pick a color that gives you the strongest contrast against your artwork, then click OK. After that, click on the second color square to choose the alternating checkerboard color. Again, select the color you want and click OK. This lets you fully customize both parts of the transparency grid so it's easier to see what you're doing while you work. Once you're happy with your choices, click over in the main preferences window to apply the changes instantly. Your transparency grid will update right away so you can keep designing with the view that works best for you. And that's it. You now know how to change the transparency grid color in Adobe Photoshop. It only takes a minute, but it can make a big difference in your workflow, especially if you work with transparent backgrounds often. If this video helped, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more Photoshop tutorials, beginner tips, and productivity tricks. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.